Well, good morning, Lufkin Central and Online Worship Community. Jason Hollinger, the campus and community minister here. And today I want to talk to you about what it means to trust your shepherd. You know, we we can find throughout the Bible imagery of shepherds, whether it's David or whether it's Jesus being called the Good Shepherd. Whether it's Psalm, the imagery from Psalm 23, um, just that shepherd who guides us by still waters. Um, in when we think about this language of by still waters, that usually these waters were very kind of rushing waters, and it was just you know very uncomfortable to go into, especially for sheep. And says he leads us by still waters, and there's something about that stillness in those waters that leads to kind of a peace and a calm for us, a bit of a serenity, because let's be honest, life life can be a bit of a jungle, right? There's so much out there that we think of, and our jungles, they can be contagious viruses, right? Our jungles can be deadlines at work. Our jungles can be expectations that are placed on us that we're not quite sure we can fulfill. And what happens in the midst of that moment is we wonder how we are going to not just fulfill that moment, not just live in that moment, but how are we going to survive and thrive in that moment. And it all comes back to this idea of trusting your shepherd. It all comes back to this idea of knowing who we are and whose we are and who it is that leads us around. The shepherds, one of the things that we learn about them is that they didn't just, when especially when you get to that imagery in the New Testament, the hired hand, and that there's a difference. Well, the hired hand just runs when the wolves come. But man, that shepherd, that imagery that we get, especially from the Old Testament, even into the New Testament, when we then think of from David to Jesus, the shepherds would spend moment after moment with the sheep. I read one time that they would literally talk to and sleep near the sheep, so that when danger would come, that when those moments would happen, that they would have a voice, they would have a voice to trust. They would have one to know that when they hear that voice in the midst of all the chaos that's happening, that's a voice they can trust. That even in the midst of when danger comes, that even in the midst of when chaos comes, and when you're out there in the midst of the jungle, you have one that you can trust. And you see, you and I can live that out too, because we have one that we can trust, that doesn't promise us that we're not going to have struggles, that we're not going to live in the midst of this jungle, but with the shepherd, with the shepherd who guides us, with a trusting voice, with a caring voice, with a loving voice, with a guide who says, if you'll listen, I'm going to lead you by still waters. We have a voice that tells us that not it's going to be okay and you're going to be all right and nothing's going to harm you. No, a voice that says struggles are real. Satan is real. But you see, this shepherd is a victorious shepherd. And he spends time with each and every one of us. And he has every day to be able to talk to us if we will just spend time listening. So that's my challenge to you today. Spend time listening to, spend time getting to know, getting to trust the shepherd. Spend time with him. Start your mornings off with the shepherd. Start your day off with him. Hear what he has to say and let his words guide you throughout your day. You know, it's a jungle out there. And maybe right now you're thinking about your day. You're processing everything that you have to accomplish, everything that you have to do. I've learned that one of the things that helps in the midst of the jungle is to take on a guide, to take on a shepherd, and start the day off right. Spend it with him, and then go throughout your day reminding yourself, of his voice, of what his presence means. Can't wait to hear and see how it goes. Y'all have a great day. God bless.